calm water with snowy mountains in the distance. From glacier to whale, life connecting all the dots with small silver schools. Glacier Bay is seen from above with islands and snowy mountains.
Suppose a friend invites you on a tour of the waters of Glacier Bay National Park. What creatures would you be most excited to see? Some popular favorites here
A tufted puffin swims in calm water.
are tufted puffins,
A harbor seal on a floating iceberg turns to face the camera.
harbor seals,
Stellar sea lions lay hauled out on a smooth rock.
stellar sea lions, and of course,
A humpback whale dives, showing its fluke.
humpback whales.
A park ranger stands on a dock in front of a Glacier Bay National Park and Preserve welcome sign.
But what if I told you there are some creatures that are just as important to the character of Glacier Bay, which go almost entirely unnoticed? I'm Ranger Brian, and today we're going to talk about some of these often underappreciated creatures. Forage fish. What they are, why they choose Glacier Bay, and the role they play in making the marine food web work.
A school of fish swim together, reflecting silver flashes as they turn.
So, what exactly is a forage fish?
Hundreds of small fish swim together.
Well, forage fish are abundant fish that swim in vast schools and are preyed upon by many species of
A pigeon guillemot flies with a fish in its mouth. A stellar sea lion swims past an underwater camera. Ling cod swim through a kelp forest.
seabirds, marine mammals, and other fish. They provide important ecosystem functions by transferring energy from primary producers to higher trophic levels.
A diagram is shown of Glacier Bay's marine food web. Creatures are placed in a 5-tiered pyramid. Phytoplankton form the base and are listed as primary producers. Zooplankton form the second level. They and levels above are marked as consumers. Forage fish are the third level. The fourth level shows forage fish predators. The fifth level shows a sea lion and killer whale marked as top predators. A definition of trophic appears on screen. It reads, "The trophic level of an organism is the position it occupies in the food web."
Put simply, they are a critical link in the food web, taking energy from plankton and condensing it for all of our favorite marine predators, like sea lions, whales, and puffins.
An image is shown of 3 different types of forage fish side by side.
There are many different species of forage fish. Can you think of any? Maybe sardines or anchovies come to mind.
A school of fish is seen from above water.
Today, we'll talk about 4 species that are important to Glacier Bay.
4 drawings of fish are shown as species are listed.
Northern lampfish, capelin, Pacific sand lance, and Alaska pollock. Before we go any further,
Ranger Brian is now standing on a rocky beach.
I think we need to talk about plankton. The word plankton comes from the Greek word planktos, which means wandering. I think of plankton as drifters.
An underwater clip is shown of many small drifting objects deep underwater.
Anything that can't swim against the current is plankton. There are 2 basic types of plankton. Phytoplankton.
2 microscopic images of phytoplankton are shown. One has a scale of 20 micrometers.
Which make or produce their own energy from the sun, like plants, and zooplankton.
Footage is shown of small translucent zooplankton swimming.
Which have to eat or consume their energy, like us, animals. So, where do forage fish come into this? Well,
An image of fish eggs is shown, near ready to hatch.
after hatching, fish larvae are so small that they just get tossed around in the current, which means They're planktonic, zooplankton.
A clip shows thousands of fish larvae being rapidly carried by current.
Many ocean creatures start their lives as zooplankton.
Images are shown of many zooplankton types: octopus, shrimp, sea worm, and others. One photo is credited to Christian Sardet of Terra Expeditions.
Now, think about your favorite restaurant. What do you like about it? Is the food consistent and delicious? Do they serve big portions? Or maybe make a dish you can't get anywhere else? Well, just like you, humpback whales, migrating seabirds, and all sorts of marine predators
A great blue heron flies and lands on a rock in the background.
have their favorite feeding grounds, and many return to Glacier Bay year after year because their favorite foods are found here in large quantities.
Images show a puffin and humpback whale feeding in the bay.
And that's because Glacier Bay is a remarkably productive place. And that all starts with its smallest inhabitants.
An image shows tiny krill on a fingertip.
The combination of Glacier Bay's many inlets, varied seafloor topography, plus large, rapid tidal swings.
A video clip shows kelp being pulled in the current. A time-lapse is shown of a rising tide lifting a floating dock.
Have the powerful effect of bringing up cold water and nutrients from the depths of the fjords
Plankton swim in front of coral.
to where the light penetrates the water and allows phytoplankton and other primary producers to bloom in the long daylight hours of the Alaskan summer.
An image of 4 northern lampfish is shown.
This upwelling also brings along the northern lampfish. Northern lampfish have small, light-producing organs called photophores down their body.
Details are overlaid, pointing out photophores in the image.
In other parts of their range, these small, oily fish spend their days at depths from 200 to 1,000 meters, only coming to the surface to feed by night.
Underwater video is shown of several thousand schooling fish swimming rapidly near the surface, followed by video of an adult and 2 young harbor seals on an iceberg and an image of gulls on an iceberg.
But in Glacier Bay, the strong tidal churn brings them up from the depths and makes them available to marine predators throughout the day. These fatty treats help keep the harbor seals plump and give seabirds energy so they can focus on nesting and raising their young.
Ranger Brian is standing in front of a boat.
As you motor up bay towards the glaciers, you might catch a whiff of cucumber in the salty spray.
A clip is shown rapidly moving over water approaching 2 glaciers.
That smell is not coming from any fruit or vegetable, but actually from a school of Pacific capelin.
An image shows capelin on a fishing boat in containers.
Glacier Bay is a nursery area for capelin,
A researcher pulls in a beach seine net in front of a glacier.
and potentially a cold water refuge for the species.
An animated data visualization from NASA is shown, displaying sea surface temperature anomaly over time. A high temperature anomaly sits in the Gulf of Alaska.
Researchers consider capelin to be bellwether of climate change. They nearly disappeared from the Gulf of Alaska after a shift to warmer temperatures during the marine heat wave known as the blob from 2013 to 16.
Aerial footage shows a glacier feeding into the ocean in a snowy fjord.
These silvery little fish prefer habitat near tidewater glaciers, where the water is cooler, rich with minerals from glacial silt, has more oxygen from melting glacier ice, and an abundance of phytoplankton.
Photos are shown of black-legged kittiwakes on an iceberg and flying in front of a cliff.
That's also likely why we have a prominent colony of black-legged kittiwakes on the cliffs near Marjorie Glacier.
Ranger Brian is standing on a sandy beach.
Pacific sand lance are another important forage species which find their habitat of choice in Glacier Bay and use it as a nursery.
Video shows a school of sand lance swimming. A photo of sand lance's head poking out of a sandy shore is overlaid.
These thin fish have no swim bladder to help them control their buoyancy, so they need sandy banks that they can rest in at night and to dive headfirst into to take cover from predators.
Photos show a marbled murrelet, pigeon guillemot, and great blue heron eating sand lance.
The sand lance is the most important fish in the diet of nesting marbled murrelets and is a major calorie contributor to the diet of almost anything in the park that eats fish. The most commonly found forage fish in the park is definitely Alaska pollock.
Underwater footage shows a school of juvenile pollock.
Glacier Bay provides nursery habitat for these fish as well, supporting them through their early life stages until many move into the Gulf of Alaska as adults. Pollock make up over half the diet of stellar sea lions.
An image is shown of a sea lion with a fish in its mouth.
They're a significant food source for humans too. Out in the Gulf of Alaska and Bering Sea, Alaska pollock make up the largest commercial fishery in the United States. If you've ever had a fish stick, it was probably made of pollock. Park researchers have consistently spotted juvenile pollock throughout Glacier Bay.
Video shows a scuba diving researcher filming underwater with a large camera.
Forage fish populations can be sensitive to changes in their habitat, mostly to changes in the shores where they spawn, but also to changes in the temperature or composition of the water.
Images are shown of National Park Service boats and oceanography monitoring equipment.
Since Glacier Bay has a variety of forage species that live in different habitats,
underwater clips show schools of different fish in different habitats.
If there is a change that causes a decline in one species for a short period, there will still be others for predators to feed on. Having a variety of species makes the food web more resilient to changes in the climate or from the continued deglaciation of the park.
Water flows past melting icebergs. An image of a harbor seal is shown,
which in turn makes Glacier Bay a more reliable food source for its residents and visitors.
Ranger Brian is standing back in front of the welcome sign.
It's important to remember that we humans are the only species who concern ourselves with lines on a map, and that most of these creatures will migrate outside of Glacier Bay's boundaries for at least one phase of their life, connecting to populations in the ocean and the world at large. But since Glacier Bay protects this variety of habitats, as the world changes and we continue to monitor and make discoveries about these species,
images show scientists above and below water collecting data for research.
What we find here can be an important comparison point for other areas that are less protected. So consider this your invitation to visit Glacier Bay National Park and Preserve. And I understand if you're still more excited to see the puffins or humpback whales on your trip up bay. But I hope you remember what brings them here and make sure to look for the smaller wildlife that make up the foundations of the food web, connecting glaciers to whales and beyond, and making Glacier Bay such inviting habitat for all of our favorite creatures.
Video fades to calm waters and an island in the distance. The National Park Service Arrowhead logo appears on screen. Music. Out of Sync by artificial.music. https://soundcloud.com/artificial-music. Music promoted by https://www.free-stock-music.com. Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 Unported License. Black Cherry by Purple Cat. https://purrplecat.com. Music promoted by https://www.free-stock-music.com. Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 3.0 Unported. Fish illustrations courtesy of Pacific Fishes of Canada. D.R. Harriet, Department of Fisheries and Oceans, Canada. Photo attributions. Plankton Species Diversity by Christian Sardet /CNRS/Terra Expeditions. https://www.frontiers.org/articles/10.338./FMARS.2017.00068/full. Creative Commons by shared attribution 4.0. NOAA Photo Library, NPS Photo Archives, Steve Schaller, Sean Nielsen, Don Morda, Ian Strachan, Yumi Arimitsu. Special thanks to Craig Murdoch, Sean Tevibaugh, Rachel Howell. Edited by Brian Taylor.